ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first of our quick looks for Legion Alpha. The purpose of the quick look series is simple. Give you a very fast overview of what these classes that your favorites and your mains look like right now, and any obvious issues that hopefully we can get changed over the course of the alpha. Really easy. Now, usually they run about 5 to 10 minutes, but as this is a brand new spec and class, we are looking at the Havoc Demon Hunter, the DPS spec. It's probably going to take just that little bit longer, so I'll be as fast as I can. This is completely spoiler-free. I've come down to the Veil of the Eternal Blossoms, so if you're keeping away from the story, the quick look is going to be a safe way for you to do that, because the story so far in Legion is pretty incredible, I'll have to say. It's pretty goddamn incredible. So, without further ado, let me get the basics out of the way. Your resource system is, of course, Fury. Okay, you have this Fury resource system, and you will generate Fury with your Demon's Bite. Okay, your Demon's Bite is a spammable ability, has no cooldown whatsoever, is a quick attack, does some damage, and it generates 20 to 30 Fury. Once you generate Fury, you have a couple of choices on what to spend it with. Your primary ability is going to be I-Beam. This thing hits like a truck. Oh yes, indeed. Mine does right now at level 104, I spent about 7 hours on my Demon Hunter, is doing about 300,000 damage. Oh, yeah. Beyond that, though, if you're single targeting, your only other spender as of right now is Chaos Strike, okay? Chaos Strike, it does 50,000 damage currently for me, and if it crits, it consumes no Fury. Right? That is it. These 3 buttons are your bread and butter of single target DPS right now. Now, we do have some other buttons. Fury of the Eladari is a ability, the mandatory ability that you gain when you get your artifact weapon. You have to take this, okay? Currently, it's a 1.78 second cast. It's affected by haste, a 1 minute cooldown, and it sends your Warglaive spinning rapidly around you and dealing 10,000 damage to anything they come in contact with. It looks a little something like this. I want to get something out of the way right now. This class is spectacular. Visually. Absolutely breathtaking. No complaints from me over this class. You have double jump, as you probably know about. Please note that double jump can't be delayed. Some people don't realize that, but if you leave it just near the floor, come on, it won't do it. It'll jump straight to wing. So if you're falling off somewhere, probably better if I do it over here. If you're falling down somewhere and thinking you could delay your double jump for quite a while, you can't. Okay, so wait. Go straight to Demon Wings. Demon Wings is if you press the button a 3rd time. So you can double jump, double jump, and then go into Demon Wings. You can, in fact, triple jump with your ability Vengeful Retreat. A Vicious Assault, not really, does rather wussy damage and leaves us slow, but it is a backflip. I was able, in my leveling of this character, to get to about this high by doing double jump and then backflipping up and then fell rushing to an area. Yeah? You do that perfectly off jumping off a stone or something, you can get ludicrously high. You can do that. Our other ability is Interrupt. Interrupting, also, if you do it correctly, will give you a full rage bar, full fury bar. We also have Chaos Nova, an AoE stun. In an AoE scenario where the mobs can be stunned and damaged by this, it actually does tremendous damage. Now, you can see the training dummies, although they take the effects of the stun, don't take the damage from it. But trust me, out in the open world, Chaos Nova is well worth a part of your AoE rotation. It fucking rocks. We have Glaive Throw, again, visually amazing. Visually amazing. And hurts, but I'll tell you why it hurts shortly. There's some talents involved in that. Very low cooldown, and it can ricochet up to 5 targets, making this a very suitable filler when you're doing AoE, because we only have these few buttons. So yes, you can tell. The Demon Hunters don't have many spells, guys. So yeah, you want everything you can to fill in these gaps. You really do. Our other main cooldown is Metamorphosis. Now again, visually amazing. Yeah, no complaints from me on how this thing looks. It looks breathtaking. What I can say about the Demon Hunter straight off the bat is this spec has been designed with a simple goal. Make it look amazing and absolutely not difficult to play. And that means that if you are somebody who's maybe not the best raider, loves visual stuff, this class is probably going to be right up your street. Because you don't have to do too much to get the most out of this. You absolutely do not. If you are somebody who likes a little bit more depth to your characters, sorry to say, this class probably isn't for you, okay? Now, I've noticed that in a lot of the comments I've said about other specs where people have been excited, and if I've said something negative, people have been angry about that. Please return to that judgment. I have no horse in this race. I've been completely unbiased, okay? I can tell you right now, this spec isn't for me, but it still has some problems. I have no issue with people playing a simpler class. I really don't. So let's get into the issues. Visually, absolutely stunning and breathtaking. Let's talk about the problems with it. First of all, the resource system, Fury. This thing is essentially a complete waste of time, but you have nothing else. which really makes me wonder what they were thinking with this. You are going to be throwing away Fury, overcapping it, wasting it absolutely all of the time. It's unavoidable. The reason for that is you have one ability which really, really hurts, which is I-Beam. So your main priority is always going to be doing I-Beam. Now, if we compare this to a similar cooldown, like Fists of Fury for a Windwalker, if we spend all our chi, as we're about to do Fists of Fury, we could actually be stuck in a situation where we haven't got the energy to actually generate Fists of Fury before other things start coming off cooldown and we can end ourselves in a mess. There's a punishment there for playing badly. That doesn't exist with the Demon Hunter. With the Demon Hunter, if you fuck up your I-Beam, you're probably one global cooldown away every single time because there's no cooldown on Demon's Bite and no resource cost to it to repairing that mistake. At max, you're probably 3 seconds if you're really, really bad and empty your Fury bar, which is extremely rare. It's extremely rare because you generate 20 to 30 and Chaos Strike costs 40. You're always going to be floating around with at least a little excess Fury to get back and use your I-Beam, which costs 50. Okay? The Fury bar has another problem with it. The only other thing we can spend on, really, is Chaos Strike so far. Now, I want to make this absolutely clear. This is very early alpha. Our talents actually stop at level 104, and even one of them is missing. There is potentially stuff coming here that fills the rest of these gaps in. Potentially. Potentially. So I always say that with a caveat. I'm just telling you what is happening right now and some of the obvious problems that occur with this as it stands, okay? So please keep an open mind on that. I'm just telling you what it's like right now. Because of this mechanic, now let's talk about this mechanic. If you crit, it doesn't consume Fury. Now that's not entirely true. Very similar to how Pyroblast works, what happens is you activate the ability and it will charge you the Fury for how much this ability costs. The game then checks if the ability crit, and if it did, it then refunds the Fury. Now although that happens relatively quickly, it's absolutely not quick enough. When you're actually playing, your gameplay will result in a style of play which is building up Demon's Bite. This is outside of Metamorphosis. This is important for later. And then dumping it so we can do that. Do you see the crit? Wait, it gave it me back afterwards. This is so we don't waste Fury. Something like a competitive player absolutely does not want to waste Fury, right? We don't want to do that. So we'll build it up. 100, wasted some Fury, but it's better than the alternative, believe me. The other style of play that you probably would want to get into is doing Chaos Strike, then doing Demon's Bite, then Chaos Strike, then do Demon's Bite. But you can see what happens there. It crits, but it takes so long for that to register here that, in fact, you've already pressed Demon's Bite, and all the Fury you generated with that Demon's Bite is a total waste. It's just disappeared. It's gone. And it's unavoidable. Now, you might say, yeah, but Preacher, your first style of play meant that that wasn't going to be an issue because you're doing 2 Chaos Strikes, which obviously Demon's Bite, which don't cause that, and then doing 2 back-to-back Demon's Bites, Chaos Strikes, I should say, so that if they crit, it's not going to be a big deal. You're absolutely right. However, Metamorphosis has a similar system. You might think off the bat, Metamorphosis, something that buffs all your damage. No, that is not how Metamorphosis works. That is not how it works. Metamorphosis looks cool, makes you into a super badass. However, it only actually does 2 things. It makes your Demon's Bite and your Chaos Strike change. It changes Demon's Bite into Demon's Rend, and it changes Chaos Strike into Annihilation. Demon's Rend generates way more Fury, up to like 75 a hit. Annihilation is a huge cleave. It does like 200,000 damage now on its own, and it cleaves everything around you. It really fucking hurts. However, Demon's Rend and Annihilation are still bound by the laws of Demon's Bite and Chaos Strike. This is very, very awkward. Why? Because Annihilation, if it crits, can reset. There is a huge world of difference between being in Metamorphosis and chain critting Annihilation and not doing. I'm talking 3 or 4 times more damage. Because Annihilation takes 100 Fury, it takes at least 2 Demon's Rends to get back to a full Annihilation. The Demon's Rend generates 75 Fury. If you do not crit with your Annihilation and it does not reset, it's going to take you 2 global cooldowns and a hell of a lot of wasted Fury in order to get that back. And that is just so much wasted resources that it's just baffling to me. Now, you can extend your Fury bar to 130. Well, double 75 is 150. Excuse me. No matter which way you play this, okay? No matter which way you play this, you are going to be wasting Fury like there is no tomorrow. This spec is reliant on critical strikes. And if you don't get chains of them, you end up doing very, very little damage comparatively. You still do more damage, but very little comparatively. You also don't want to use anything else while you're in Metamorphosis, because Annihilation just hits so freaking hard. And, of course, it has no effect on our big ability, I-Beam. So a good player will use I-Beam before going into meta, because all you want to do while you're in meta is simply do as many Annihilations as possible. So let me show you. Now I'm in meta. You can see my Annihilation, 100 Fury, and now Demon's Bite. So it auto-caps me. Then I press it. Didn't crit. Now I have to use 2 more. Look at all the wasted Fury. Loads of it. Didn't crit. Do it again. And again. Press it again. And this is what your playstyle is. It's very, very strange. Why they've set up a system that just guarantees wasted resources back to back is absolutely beyond me. And it still runs into the same problem of if you crit Annihilation, which we didn't do that time, that you're going to be generating 75 Fury, which is also going to be wasted. This system could be easily fixed, though. All this needs to do is if it crits, it gives you a proc that tells you your next Chaos Strike will be free. That means that if you press Demon's Bite, your resource is not wasted. If you press Demon's Rend, it's not wasted, but you have a proc. That would be fine. Absolutely fine. A little in-game visual saying your next Chaos Strike or Annihilation is completely free. Problem solved. Way less downtime, way less resources, way less wasted global cooldowns and abilities that don't matter. Because all that matters is getting as many Chaos Strikes in as possible or as many Annihilations. That's it. And a simple fix like that could make it work completely. What about AoE then, Preacher? AoE is kind of cool in a burst scenario. In a very bursty scenario. If these were fresh adds, like a bundle of fresh adds, we can actually do something pretty spectacular. We can throw Glaive, which does huge damage and ricochets to all the targets. We can then do Chaos Nova, which does huge damage. We can then do our Fury of the Illidari, because they're all gathered. And then we can go into an I-Beam, which, as you can see, doesn't really have any diminishing returns on how many targets you pull. I have AoE'd 7, 8, 9 mobs in the open world. I-Beam slices them all and does not start losing damage, from what I can tell. That might change. That might change, absolutely. But when all that is said and done, you're really out of options. Now, you could talent a couple more options, but they're not exactly exciting. All you could do at this point is go back to Demon's Bite and Chaos Striking, and you can throw in a Warglaive, which I think you'll be doing anyway, even though its damage once these things get below 90% health isn't exactly that spectacular. Before I get into the talent system, I just want to point out the other trick you have, which is Spectral Sight. Now, as you can see, Spectral Sight has a huge range, and it sees through walls. You can even see, I can see something glowing red, a mob over there. Anything glowing red is something that can be killed. Look, I can see this Strider there. I can see that go over there. That's a huge, huge distance, right? Huge, huge distance. Spectral Sight also sees treasures. I will point out, currently on the alpha, and I think this is a bug, I've sent a report off to Blizz, and hopefully we'll get an answer on this, is that I was going into caves while leveling and checking out areas to see if there was treasures in the room. It wasn't showing me any. But, like, behind this wall, there was a treasure. So whether or not there is a reduced range on treasure searching, or whether or not it's just a bug or something to do with treasures, I don't know. But it's still a cool ability. You can see stealth units and stuff. It only has a 10-second cooldown. And the only downside is it slows you down. But you can absolutely do very cool things with that. Right, the talent system is what needs a complete overhaul, in my opinion. So, Fell Mastery increases the damage of Fell Rush by 50% and gains 25 Fury when Fell Rush damages at least one target. Right. This puts it just slightly ahead of Demon's Bite if you spec into this. The only problem, as you can probably imagine, is that it shoots through targets and puts you out of melee range. Now, the idea is this is going to be an AoE spell, I assume. So if there's a group of mobs, you can shoot through them with Fell Rush and do like a Demon's Bite's worth of damage to all of them. Okay, not the end of the world, but again, the 25 Fury part of it isn't a big deal because we can only spend that Fury on relatively shit abilities so far. So far. That's what I need to keep carrying out. So far. Nothing else here yet. Blade Dance also does something similar. Notice the great way we change talents now, by the way, guys. It's absolutely tremendous. Blade Dance is a short cooldown AoE spell. Okay? And it also looks spectacular. On its own, it doesn't do a great deal. It does like 45,000. Alright? On its own, every 12 seconds. Yeah, for consistent AoE, maybe you're going to take this. Maybe. You might say, well, how can you maybe? Both of these do something nice, AoE-ish wise. Single target, absolutely worthless. Yeah, totally worthless. Why is this worthless? Look at the cost. 50 Fury. It is way expensive when that could go into chaining critical Chaos Strikes, which go back to back for 50,000, right? 50 Fury is a lot. It's a lot for less damage. Yeah, you're paying more for less damage, single target, and it can't chain into anything else, as Chaos Strike can. It really can. So, for AoE consistent, maybe. The reason I say maybe is Blind Fury. Blind Fury increases the duration of I-Beam by 50%. I-Beam is the truck hitter. It hurts so goddamn much, and it already carries that 50 Fury cost. In order for Blade Dance to beat Blind Fury, right, it has to do at least an extra 100,000 damage per target, and take into account the damage lost from all the Chaos Strikes, which is 50,000 apiece. That is a huge amount. That is a huge amount. You're talking at least an extra 300,000 damage at my level for Blade Dance to outdo I-Beam. It just doesn't add up, unfortunately. It just doesn't add up. The math just isn't there. Now, that math can be tweaked at some point in the alpha, absolutely. But right now, I can't see any reason not to take I-Beam. I-Beam is just so much better. It doesn't come with any of the inconvenience. So that's my only issues with those. I would like Blade Dance to do more. Or Blind Fury just to disappear. I-Beam is strong enough. It doesn't need such a boring talent, which it is, to prop it up. These are much more interesting to use, and I would like this to be replaced. You might say, well, let's just get rid of these two. I don't think that's the correct answer. Blade Dance is a very, very, very cool ability. I would like to use that more often, but at the moment, I-Beam just seems to generally smash it out of the water, and you gain so much extra Fury, right? I-Beam is what? 45 seconds. So I have an extra 150 Fury to dump into Chaos Strikes, at least, on top of the extra damage that I get from the I-Beam, without taking Blade Dance. So that's what you're fighting against. The level 100 talents are really weird. Really weird. As I've already told you, you're going to be throwing Fury away non-stop. All the time. Just wasting it and wasting it and wasting it because you can't control it. And the problem is, you don't have that much to spend Fury on. And realistically, Chaos Strike is too good. If it does start chain critting, you can get some really big damage out there. Every time you're generating Fury, you're wasting time that could go into chain Chaos Strikes, right? Prepared. Your Vengeful Retreat, you generate 96 Fury over 6 seconds. Now, Vengeful Retreat only has a 25-second cooldown. This ability, 96 Fury over 6 seconds, sounds great. It just isn't, unfortunately. It just isn't. You're going to give up at least 2 global cooldowns and melee range to get the benefit out of this. So if you Vengeful Retreat and then charge back, that's what you get. It's like you get 2 Chaos Strikes out of that. That's pretty much what you're going to get out of just staying in melee range, including all the white damage, which is not insignificant, and using Demon's Bite. It basically gives you like an extra 36 Fury, which is not a big deal. Unfortunately, it's just not a big deal. It really isn't. And yeah, that makes it kind of boring. I will give you some sort of standing for this. Is previously, Unholy DKs had to run out of melee range to cast Gargoyle, because Gargoyle in melee range could bug and not do its proper damage. Even then, with like a minute and a half, 2-minute cooldown, or wherever it was in Cataclysm, it was annoying because you had to run out, stop doing damage that you should be doing, and then run back in. Now, it looks fantastic, so anybody who doesn't care about that probably won't mind all this distance of running backwards and forwards every 25 seconds. I can tell you, for those of you who like ratings, which is what I tend to look at, this is really annoying, and it's just not worth it. It's absolutely just not worth it, and that's the sad point. The 96 Fury just isn't worth it. Then we move on to Demon's Blades. I don't know who thought of Demon's Blades, but it's really strange. Really strange. What this does, instead of generating Fury with Demon's Bite, it actually gets rid of Demon's Bite. You no longer have that spell. And now it will auto attacks will generate Fury for you sometimes. So if I take Demon's Blades, just getting out of combat there. If I take Demon's Blades, this is how it looks when you play it. I've had upwards of 9 seconds where I've been unable to press a single button on my Demon Hunter with this talent. So let's see if we can get some sort of damage. Let's dump our Fury as we would. Right. So we go 1, 2, 3, press a button. 2, 3, press a button. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Press a button. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Press a button. 2, 3, 4, 5. Press a button. Do you get the idea? I don't get why this exists. This is like almost AFK mode. I don't get it. I severely hope and pray this is not something that you will have to take as it will provide overall the best DPS. I don't even know how it can. Just if that shadow damage is balanced to be absurd to cope with the loss of spammable Demon's Bite, really scary. And I would watch this with a close eye, because if this doesn't change somehow into just anything else, that would be so boring. The other ability you take is Master of the Glaive. This is actually really good for leveling and great for fights like Archimonde, when there's ads spawning and stuff and fresh things and all that kind of stuff going on. Master of the Glaive. Throw Glaive does an additional 100% damage against enemies above 90% health, and the cooldown is reduced by 2 seconds each time it deals damage. Now, you can also go into your artifacts. I believe it's there. For Balance Blades, where your Glaive can now bounce to 2 additional targets. As standard, this thing only has 10 seconds, which makes it really, really short cooldown for something that hits extremely hard. And it's very, very cool. So for that purpose alone, which is what talent should be, for that niche ability, it's very cool. I've had this thing easily at level 104 in very low B gear do well over 110,000 damage. It actually hits that hard. You can see 62k. It hits so hard, it can hit multiple targets, and while leveling and stuff, it's a dream. You just do this as you pull. It'll, on its own, take them well below 90% health, so you only get that one use out of it. But if you're AoEing and you're hitting 5 targets, especially that are going to be at 90% health, there you go, 110,000. Then, yeah, Master of the Glaive is very cool. No issues with me. These two, though, need to be way better options. I would like Prepared, if I was to give some suggestions, I would like Prepared to change Vengeful Retreat into a bounding ability that actually I can do on the spot and jump down on a target and generate Fury. That would be fine. Something like that. Something that doesn't take me out of melee range and then bring me back in for a bonus which is just not that interesting in the first place. Generating Fury on a Demon Hunter is just not that interesting or worthwhile. And this just needs to be scrapped for quite literally anything else. 102, you get Demon Reborn. This, again, is very confusing. This is the stuff that hopefully Blizzard's going to pay attention to. Demon Reborn. All your cooldowns are reset when you invoke meta. Now, I'll say again the caveat, potentially there's something here that's something you can use in meta. However, the tooltip for meta only has abilities that have no cooldown. I have absolutely no idea what's going on with this talent at all, because it certainly doesn't reset meta. Meta on its own seems to be void of anything that affects cooldowns. And I say that because in my leveling, I picked up this because I was interested in it, which was Feast on the Souls. Consume a Soul Fragment reduces all cooldowns by 10 seconds. Soul Fragments, if you're not sure, when you kill something as a Demon Hunter, a purple orb will drop. You can pick it up. It heals about 1/5 of your health bar. It's pretty cool. And I want, as leveling, obviously, I was killing lots of mobs. So I thought, oh, that'll be really nice. I could consume these and lower the cooldown on meta. It does not seem to affect meta. You don't want to press anything in meta, as I said earlier. You don't want to press anything in meta other than really as many annihilations as possible. So Desperate Instinct seems such a strange thing. You might say, well, what about I-Beam? I-Beam's not affected by being in meta. And I-Beam is a channeled spell, right? It's a channeled spell. You actually I-Beam for quite a long time. That's all time that could be going into more annihilations. So Demon Reborn really makes me scratch my head. By the time you come out of meta, your I-Beam will be just about off cooldown anyway. So whether there's something special here coming, I don't know. But resetting your cooldowns while in meta, unless there's something spectacular coming, I don't get it. So you can see here, when I jump into meta, Demon Reborn does absolutely nothing. It reset my I-Beam, that's cool, but I don't want to be doing this. I want to be doing Annihilation. I want to be critting. I want to waste all my Fury and critting. That's all I want to happen in meta, because that is all I can do with it. I can't do anything else. Just show the cleave effect. You can see. See, I'm hitting the tags over there. What I've been unable to figure out so far is whether or not critting on a different target, like critting this one, actually gives you the free annihilation. That's not been something I've been able to test yet. It's potential. That could be quite cool. So this talent makes no sense to me either. Soul Rending. Increase your leech by 100%. Basically, this means you can heal yourself to full while in meta. Great for leveling. Use it on rare mobs, you know, especially difficult ones. I was using it against the three-man group ones in order to heal my health up all the way from the back. And Feed the Demon. Increase the duration of meta every time you consume a Shattered Soul. This could be also very cool. This one is the coolest one. Similar to how this is set up for AoE. The single target is where the problems lie in the talents for me so far. This means that if you are killing targets while you're in meta, because your Annihilation cleaves, have I shown you, you could be picking up the Shattered Souls and staying in meta and doing more Annihilations to hopefully kill more things, to pick up more Shattered Souls, and so on and so forth. So you can stay in meta for a really long time doing shitloads of damage. Fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. No problems there. Just would like something more beneficial here. I mean, the Leech is great while leveling, but we could do something better at endgame than this, right? Hopefully, maybe. Level 104. It gets even stranger. Now, all these abilities, or both of these abilities, we haven't got the third one, are based on Blur, your defensive cooldown. What Blur does is increase your dodge by 50%, and allows you to dodge spells for 3 seconds, but if you're attacking something, it'll go up to a maximum of 10. Now, the problem with Blur is that it's completely unreliable. It increases your dodge by 50%, right? That doesn't mean anything sometimes. That means absolutely nothing. Trust me, as a tank, that can mean a hell of a lot of nothing. When I need a defensive, certainly in the raid world, I don't need it for sometimes to work. It's not Cloak of Shadows, which just works. It's not Feint, which just works. It's not Bark Skin, which just works. You understand where I'm coming from here? It's not Ice Block, it's not Ice Barrier. All these abilities that other people have, which just stop damage in some form, Blur does not do that. It could just flat out not work, and I've had many occasions where it's not worked. Because it's unreliable, and we have dealt with unreliable things in the past, we like to use them at high health. Because if it doesn't pay off and it doesn't do its job well, at least we're not about to die because of that. Which then leads us into Desperate Instincts. You automatically cast Blur when you fall below 30% health. If activated automatically, the cooldown is reduced by 25 seconds. We never want that. You never want that. If you use that, and I tried to make use of it in the open world, by the time you've checked if Blur's paid off or not, you might be dead. Blur is either going to be really good, a middle ground, or really bad. And 30% health is a bad place to be testing what's going to happen. Which makes Blur... The problem isn't the talent, the problem is just how Blur works. Or you could change Blur to Nether Walk, okay? Where you slip into the Nether, increasing movement speed by 100% and not being immune to damage. Again, this is a spec that is designed so you can easily not die to stuff. Right? Studying Fire, didn't notice, can Fel Rush out of there. If it's a really bad scenario, like Syndra Ghost's AoE, and you're like, oh shit, she's about to kill me, you can Nether Walk and get the fuck away from there really fast, right? And you won't take any damage. This is a very learner-friendly, or maybe just a more relaxed player-friendly class, and Nether Walk does its job. But I would certainly like something more interesting, even if it was to turn Blur into a flat damage reduction rather than the dodge. That would be great. Something I can rely on. Unreliable defensive cooldowns are no friend of mine. So that is my current feedback. Again, looks spectacular. Very simple to pick up and play. The artifact weapon trees are really cool. I had to make some serious choices going through this because all these abilities are good. Mainly based on the fact that we have so few that you really want to beef the ones you do have up. So I went for Deceiver's Fury. Not because I wanted it. I didn't want the dodging to generate Fury. I didn't want that. But I did want Feast on Souls to test that out. And I also wanted improved I-Beam, which gives you 15%. I wanted to pick up Inner Demons, which means that your Chaos Strike actually does AoE damage. Thought that was cool. I wanted the critical damage bonus, because obviously we're going to be aiming for crit with a Demon Hunter. Crit gear is king. Sharper Glaives, which gives me another 9% damage on my glaives. And, you know, 124k. Yeah, I would take another 9% damage on top of that, right? So all these things were really cool for me. Buffing I-Beam, buffing Throw Glaive. Very cool. Didn't really want overwhelming power, but I could take up Anguish of the Deceiver, which means my I-Beam damage, which I've buffed through the arse, through talents and stuff, will then put a debuff on there that does damage based on how many times it's stacked up, which seems to play very nicely into Blind Fury. The artifact trees are really cool. There are some stuff that you'll have to go through that you don't really want, like Deceiver's Fury, like Illidari Knowledge. That seems like a tank thing for me. 12% magic damage reduction, whatever. But Contained Fury, maximum Fury increased by 10. So up to 30. Not interesting. Fury is just not a big deal at all for a Demon Hunter. So increasing the bar might reduce some spillage, but not enough. It doesn't matter in Metamorphosis where it really counts. So yeah, it's not really worthwhile. Demon Speed, don't really want. Fel Rush has no cooldown while Blur is active. Certainly for me in a raid world, that's not that interesting. And Demon Rage. Demon's Bite's damage increased by 9%. I don't want to be casting Demon's Bite. I want to be chaining Chaos Strikes. I'll be aiming for crit in order to make that more readily available. So this side of the tree particularly is great for me, and I was kind of less impressed, because this revolves around Rage of the Illidari as well. So it's almost as if they designed this for me to not be interested, because Rage of the Illidari needs... I haven't even talked about that, have I? This spell needs some drastic changes. A cast time while you're a melee sucks. Every single time. It fucking blows. It's okay if it's super, super fast, like a half-second cast, but 2 seconds in melee is a fucking lifetime, and it feels it. It feels clunky as balls. Not only that, your Warglaives actually cover a really small area, to the point where if there is mobs directly in front of you, your glaives don't hit them. It feels for cast time and a 1 minute cooldown, it does nowhere near enough damage. Now, if there's loads and loads of enemies, its damage is fine. I'm not saying its damage is shit, but it feels crap, right? There's a big difference between something actually being crap and just feeling crap. Fury of the Illidari feels crap. It's a 2 second cast for a 3 second effect. And you can see the small, like, oval shape it covers. Yeah, anything slightly to the side or stood like here or here doesn't get hit. And it's incredibly frustrating. It's nice, it's a bit of fun, but it could be so much better. It could be so... Even make it double the cooldown and make it instant cast for all I care. Or lower the damage, make it instant cast. Do something with it. It looks cool. I would like to use it more, but I found myself just not bothering with it because I mean, personally, and a lot of melee will agree with me, cast time in melee really blows. It really, really blows, especially for something that doesn't last that long. Fist of Fury is cool because it looks cool, right? And it's doing damage constantly, and it's a big hitter. Fury of the Illidari is none of those things. It's just a pain in the ass. That's the quick look at the Demon Hunter. So, at the moment, my final thoughts here are, one, the talent system needs a real look at and revamping. A lot of these talents just don't make any sense whatsoever, and other ones just dwarf them, from what I can tell, and just make no sense. And plus, I'm picking up talents that I don't particularly want, because the other choices are so bad. That's never cool. It's never fun. So that needs a revamp. It certainly needs looking at. And it could use an extra resource system. It either needs to do something else with Fury, so that hopefully there's more spenders here that are worthwhile, and hopefully some of them affect meta, in order that resetting the cooldowns makes some kind of sense, right? Demon Reborn would make some kind of sense. I would be fine with that. Just give us something more to do, other than... And especially the single target rotation needs to revolve around more than just these 3 buttons. Because 3 buttons and 1 is on a 45-second cooldown just isn't fun or interesting. Let's alter this proc so it is a proc, so we can actually see it and make use of it and make choices and stuff on that. I would be so much happier if that occurred. So much happier with the Demon Hunter. And then maybe we could get some serious gameplay involved in it. Alright guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.